All right, so as we return more to normal-ish, people are out and about shopping, dining at their favorite places. You're going to want to have your finances ordered to make sure you have some breathing room to keep enjoying your favorite places. Money expert Janae Adams joins us at 2 Wants to Know today to talk about debt and money. She is taking your questions. Now, this is how you get your questions to her. You text those questions. The number is 336-379-5775. Make sure that you text us and don't call us because this is a text only line. All right, first and foremost, some of the things that are making headlines right now that you want to talk about are student loans.
Yes, definitely. Student loans, a couple of companies are backing out of the federal government student loans. So what that means for you, if you have student loans through those companies, you really need to pay attention more than likely because things could start to get a little bit out of control if you are in those student loan forgiveness programs. You want to make sure that you're staying on track with the new program the federal government puts you in.
All right, and so there's also colleges around the country are forgiving some student loans by the millions. So how is that working and how do you know? Because I know we get emails and calls all the time saying, hey, someone called and said that they were going to forgive my loan. Is this real or not?
Yeah, so those are usually not real, but the ones from your actual institution, and it's for current students because they're trying to clear those balances so those students can sign up for the fall and be able to take classes once again. Even my alma mater, South Carolina State University, forgave last week $10 million for 2,500 students, and other institutions are following suit. They're using those stimulus funds that they received from the stimulus package to forgive those student loans. So it's a great use of the money.
All right, so if someone is watching right now and they have a student loan or they know someone who has a student loan, what would you suggest they do? Should they call that institution and see if their loan applies?
Yes, so if they are in school at the college, in the institution, they should reach out to their financial aid department or the student affairs department to see if there's still some stimulus fund money available as an emergency grant to be able to get that money. So if they needed to go back to school, they can.
Okay. All right, let's talk about that child tax credit because the first payment went out just this month. We're going to get a second payment coming up in August.
Yes, so it did just drop on the 15th, and it will drop every 15th through December. And depending on what your income is and the age of your child, you either receive $250 per child or $300 per child in a check or a direct deposit. So if you're somebody who wants to opt out of that, you now have to do it right now because once it gets 2 days before the 15th, it's too late.
That's right. You can opt out just once and it will cover you for the entire time. Or you can opt out as it goes through, like maybe you want to get the first 3 payments, but then you don't want to get the last 3 payments. You can do that as well. The second advanced child tax credit payment actually comes out on the 13th this time because the 15th is a Sunday. So, but everything else is the 15th. So I know a lot of folks are kind of like, should I opt out? Should I wait until I get that big tax credit at the end of the year?
And everybody is different. I've had plenty of phone calls about the child tax credit, and everybody's asking me, should I just wait, Janae? And I tell them, if you need the money now, go ahead and take it because you have to buy school clothing. You have to just get ready for the next year. If you can wait and you want to, then that is fine. You can wait till you file your taxes on next year and get the whole thing at one time.
All right. So this person says, I'm having problems learning how to save money. Can you give me some advice? I get paid twice a month and I have nothing left in savings.
So I would definitely tell them to find out what they're exactly spending because that is very normal for people to say, I make this amount of money, but I'm not having anything at the end of the month. Do what I call a 2-week expense tracking. You start on the 1st of the month or the 15th and track every penny that comes out of your household for those 2 weeks. And you'll get a better idea where your money is going. And then once that happens, you can cut out or cut back some things so you have more money to save.
Okay, and so when you look at that and you figure out where you're spending some money, it's easy to see if, yeah, I'm spending it at the vending machine at work or I'm spending it at Starbucks. But if you're really just spending it on bills, then your next thing is to then what? Figure out how to make those bills lower?
Definitely, to be able to cut out or cut back on those bills. So being able to turn off lights more to save on energy, pushing up your thermostat, cutting that water off, make sure your children are in the house cutting the water off. And streaming services, a lot of times the average number of streaming services is 3 or 4. So let's cut down to 2 or 1, and that'll save you probably 20 or 30, maybe even $40 a month. that you can put towards saving. Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. This person says, what percentage of a 17-year-old's paycheck should go into savings? I want her to learn financial responsibility.
Yeah, so if that 17-year-old is pretty dependent on you, you take care of everything else, they can be pretty aggressive with their savings, and they can, the usual is 10% for the rest of us. But for young people, I like to say 20 or 30% because they already have a roof over their head, food on the table, clothes on their back provided by somebody else. This is the time that they can be aggressive with their savings.
Okay, we're continuing to take your text questions. The number there at the bottom of the screen. We've got one more segment left with Janae Adams. We'll be right back.